It was early October, a few weeks before the tourist season fully died out. The air was cold enough to make your breath visible, and the sky above the coastal town was covered with heavy gray clouds. I was sitting behind the check-in desk, finishing paperwork, when the front door creaked open. A man stepped inside, thin, pale, wearing an outdated gray coat that looked like it belonged in the 90s. His hair was slightly wet, as if he had been walking in the rain. He didn't speak at first. He simply stared at me with dark, tired eyes. "Do you have a room?" he finally asked. His voice was low, rough, but somehow distant, like he wasn't fully here. I nodded and handed him a form to fill out. He took it, but instead of sitting at the small lobby table, he filled it standing right in front of the counter. His handwriting was strange too. Sharp, shaky strokes, almost like someone unfamiliar with modern pens. His name was written as Daniel Harper. I gave him the key to room 6 on the second floor. He took it, nodded, and walked upstairs, without a single unnecessary word. If the story ended here, I wouldn't be telling it today. The first odd thing happened the next morning. At 6 a.m., when I did my usual hallway walk, I noticed the door to room 6 slightly open. I knocked gently and pushed it. The room was empty. His suitcase was gone. The bed was perfectly made, untouched, as if no one had slept in it. But here's the strange part. The key was still on the inside of the door, exactly where a sleeping guest would leave it. I assumed he left early, maybe to get breakfast outside. But his payment was only for one night. If he had left, he would have checked out. I shrugged it off. At first. Later that afternoon, as I was sweeping the hallway, I noticed something odd. Wet footprints leading toward room 6. The same strange footprints I had noticed the night before when he checked in. But the hallway carpet was completely dry. I knocked again. The room was locked. "Daniel," I called out. No answer. I tried opening the door, but the key was gone. Someone had locked it from the inside. I grabbed the spare master key. It clicked, the door opened, and the room was empty again, still the bed untouched. That night, I didn't sleep. Something felt wrong, badly wrong. The following morning, I checked the guest ledger, something I hadn't done in days. I flipped through the older pages to compare signatures. And then I found it. On a page dated 2003, more than 20 years ago, the name Daniel Harper appeared. Same handwriting, same sharp strokes. Next to the name was a red-stamped note, "Deceased in room 6. Do not rent." My stomach dropped. I flipped back and forth, checking the handwriting over and over. It was identical. The same man, the same room, but more than 20 years apart. The man in the ledger had died. According to the record, he had been found in room 6, sitting on the bed, his suitcase open beside him. Heart failure, the note said. But there were details that made no sense. He had been found on a rainy night, coat soaked, shoes covered in mud from the coastal cliffs. Exactly how his coat looked when he arrived at my door. Exactly how his footprints looked in my hallway. I didn't believe in ghosts. I never did. But that night, I learned that belief doesn't matter. Reality doesn't ask for permission. The final night began when I heard footsteps outside my own room. Slow, heavy, dragging footsteps. I looked through the peephole. No one was there, but the footsteps continued, walking away, toward room 6. I followed. The air around the door felt cold, uncomfortably cold, as if the temperature had dropped 10 degrees only in that hallway. The knob on the door, the same door that should have been locked, was trembling slightly, like someone was holding it from the inside. I backed away, and then it opened. Daniel stood there, His face was pale, lifeless, eyes glassy and unfocused. Water dripped from his coat onto the floor, though it hadn't rained in days. He didn't blink. He didn't breathe. He simply looked at me and said, "I never checked out." The words echoed in the hallway, unnatural, distorted, like two voices speaking at once. Then he stepped forward, but his feet made no sound. The wet footprints appeared anyway as he moved from himself. I froze, couldn't breathe, couldn't think. You gave me a room, and now I can rest. His body began to fade into a thin mist, drifting back into the darkness of the room. The door closed behind him softly. I never rented room 6 again, and I didn't see Daniel after that night. But sometimes, when the weather is cold and the wind hits the old wooden walls just right, I hear footsteps in the hallway. Slow, wet, heavy. And I know he's checking in again, because ghosts don't need reservations. They only need unfinished business.